6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order unofficially, but actually, it's not a meeting. We're gonna have an informational since we do not have a quorum. So we have Kyle here from the Council of Governments. It's gonna go over an open space plan. So let's talk about that. Hi, Kyle.
Hello, and thanks so much for inviting me to your informational session. Let me share my screen here.
Hi, Regan, too. Regan Miner with the Norwich Historical Society on as well.
Hello, Regan. Okay. Okay, so the Council of Governments, we are in the process right now of developing a regional open space plan. My name, as Dan introduced, I'm Kyle Casiglio. I'm a planner with the Council of Governments. Also involved in this project is Jessica Cobb, our GIS coordinator. I'll send these slides to Deanna afterwards if anyone wants my contact information or wants to look at them, but you can contact me for any questions or input on the plan, and Jessica for any of the technical side of things. So what is open space? This is an important question because everyone has a different definition. We are trying to stay aligned with DEP's green plan as much as possible. They are going to be putting out a official definition for their update to the green plan. They're in the process of rewriting it right now. That should be coming out next month. So in conversations with DEP, I don't expect this to deviate really, but we will update to align with them if there is any significant difference from the current green plan. So it takes a very broad definition of open space. Anything that meets either of one of these two criteria, either that it has some form of permanent protection from development, or that it's open to the public for recreation. So something like a green strip and a highway median would not count towards this, but an urban playground would, which is something that not all towns do count.
Kyle, can I interrupt you for a second? What about school playgrounds? Are you counting that or not?
If they are open to the public after school hours, yes, we would count that.
Okay, thanks.
So this is open space in Norwich as we at least understand it right now. The parcels in blue are parcels that we've collected from one of the variety of data sources out there from our existing records. We consulted with the Last Green Valley, the National Conservation Easement Database, and what DEP has on record as well. The parcels you see highlighted in dark green are parcels that we've added to our inventory since we started this process. Either a land trust or some other regional conservation organization indicated that that this parcel meets one of our two criteria. There is a link to our verification tool on this, and again, I'll send these slides out. If you see something on here that's missing, please let us know. We want to have as much accurate information as possible. I'm not going to get too deep into the reasons why we're undertaking this plan. I've briefed the planners in the region and the CEOs on this already, but one of the big reasons is we want to see how close we are to DEP's goal of 21% of acreage being protected or preserved open space. So we want to have as good of information as possible in terms of how close we are to meeting that goal and what we need to do to reach it. So this is from the 2013 POCD. These are the goals that Norwich had written down for developing an open space system. My question for you guys at the end of this is basically going to be, how has that gone? What has the progress been on this? And, why did something succeed, or why did some things perhaps not succeed? Some things to think about as we go through this. We have more or less wrapped up our public process. I've only got a couple more stakeholder meetings to engage with. Throughout the past 4 months, we held public workshops in New London, Norwich, and one available on Zoom. We sent out a survey which garnered 118 responses. We engaged in conversations with stakeholder organizations throughout the region, being conservation orgs, recreation orgs, land trusts, our institutions of higher education. Reached out to really almost anyone who wanted to talk to us. And then we also did a little bit of an Earth Day blitz, going out to as many events as we could, engaging with people on the ground who are interested in conservation and recreation. And now the final piece is the stuff that we're starting with right now, is meeting with municipal leaders and staff to figure out how we can reconcile all of this public input that we've gathered with the municipal plan of conservation development and the municipal goals. So the specific comments that we received relevant to Norwich, I put them on the map you'll see here on the right. Desire for passive recreational access to the reservoirs. Appreciation was shown for the blend of open space and historical preservation in Norwich Town and at Uncas Leap. Request for better pedestrian access and or sidewalks to Mohegan Park, and desire for safe bike facilities along or parallel to the southerly portion of Route 32. So these were all indicated to us in those workshops that I mentioned before. People had the opportunity to put stickers on maps, and this is what we got for Norwich. From the survey that we put out, the biggest priorities that were indicated to us is more trails for walking and biking. That came up from a vast majority of the respondents, is more opportunities for that. Utilizing open space to connect different uses was something supported by 77% of respondents. All different types of uses were mentioned, but the biggest ones are connecting different open spaces, connecting open spaces to water bodies, to schools, downtown civic spaces, and to other towns. And a positive note, very positive note, is 73% of respondents believe that they have a park trailer conservation area within a safe 10-minute walk from home. So the access to open space seems to be pretty good. We are working on a walk shed that'll kind of show this, but that is not quite finished yet. But we'll be happy to send that out to the town when we do have it finished. The most popular recreational activities for the region, walking, hiking, in general, whether it be on trail or on road, biking, canoeing, getting out and birding. You can see the whole list there. This is basically what people indicate that they already are doing. So synthesizing all of the feedback that we've gotten, we've come up with 5 regional goals or regional priorities that we're going to be focusing on, and that's improving connectivity and access, protection of drinking water, improving safety. And this is both in terms of how people feel when they are at the open space, and safety for engaging in recreational activities, specifically for active mobility, walking, hiking, and cycling. The prioritization of force multipliers. What I mean by that is when we look at conservation, prioritizing the areas that have the biggest impact. So preserving land alongside, say, the Thames River is great, and we love that. But the farther up the watershed you go, the bigger of an impact that has. So, what Sprague preserves along the Shetucket River is going to have an impact on Norwich, Montville, Waterford, New London, more and more down the line. When we preserve forest land, preserving core forest, that's the types of forests that aren't near any type of development or road, has a much bigger impact than preserving a small strip of trees in between 2 already developed parcels. So just prioritizing the most important conservation lands when we're doing that. And finally, expanding opportunities for active mobility. We saw from the survey that cycling, hiking, walking is all already very popular. But people did also indicate a desire for more access to those types of opportunities, for more trails, better connected trails, and improved bike facilities, especially. So the discussion that I really want to have with you all is, like I said before, how has the context changed from 2013? Where was Norwich successful in meeting the goals laid out? Were there areas to improve? How could that be done? What opportunities exist now, and how can we leverage partnerships? This is a big one. We really want to encourage cross-municipal thinking as much as possible. We have a ton of great organizations operating in this region that would love to work with our towns, and sometimes they just don't know who the point of contact is or don't know what the opportunities and priorities are. So any partnerships that we can facilitate, we would absolutely love to be a part of that. And that goes the same for how open space can complement other functions. And finally, one question I had specifically for Norwich is who is responsible for open space? My understanding is that there is a inland wetlands commission, but not necessarily a conservation commission, or they might be the same thing. I kind of got different responses depending on who I talked to.
The Inland Wetlands Commission is the Conservation Commission for the city of Norwich.
Okay.
Yep, so they are. And as far as like municipal staff, I would say the planning department sort of is, as far as if someone's interested in acquiring open space and they contact us and talk to us about it, like we have with the land trust before, you know, walk sites with them and partner with them. But it's also, you know, depends. It could be Park and Rec department. It could be our Public Works department that's involved with open space. It could be a Norwich Public Utilities. So it kind of trickles out to different people. But as far as responsibility for the open space plan, it's the, you know, Inland Wetlands and Conservation Commission. And they also are the leaders in trying to, and Rick Burrell is here tonight. Rich Burrell, he's our chairman of the Inland Wetlands and Conservation Commission. And he has really been a champion to try to get one of the things in the past plan is working with NPU, who is Chris LaRose is on here tonight, the general manager, about getting some of the reservoirs open for open space and use for the public. So we're working on that and they're getting kind of close on that.
Excellent. Well, that's exciting to hear.
So if you look, number one, create an overall energetic citywide open space trail. We don't have one right now. We're hoping to work with yours when we get it, an open space trail network, trail plan. But we would like to, obviously have some more networks of connecting what we have for trails. But I'll tell you, honestly, we've been very, I think I'm frustrated with the DEP. We just applied for a grant to repair our heritage trail and we did not get it. And I think it was a very excellent application. It's been 30 years since we did the heritage trail and we want to expand the heritage trail for the eastward, but we thought, why don't we ask to repair what we already have and enhance it before we go eastward? And, we haven't even got a letter that we weren't funded, that the governor made the announcement, and it was very disappointing that we didn't get any notification about that. We've also asked twice for our 8th Street area. There's a parcel of land that abuts Preston, and we're working with Preston to be able to expand a little small, like kind of a walking path, but a paved trail for bicycles and, to go on through Norwich and into Preston. And we applied twice through DEP and 2 times didn't get awarded that either. And so being a distressed community and working regionally with our abutting town still didn't get us anywhere with DEP. So I'll just be honest with you, it's very disappointing, Kyle.
Understandably so. The grant you mentioned, is that the recreational trails grant?
Yep. And I know they didn't have as much money this year to do stuff, but I think we had a really compelling, application, as well as, again, being a distressed community. And Preston got money and others communities get money, and Norwich, every time we go for that recreational trail, it's very difficult. It's been years since we've got one from them.
Well, one good piece of news I can share on that is I know they're planning to increase the funding available in that grant by $1 million next year. So hopefully with a little more funding available, something opens up. Yeah, I just don't know who to scream at on that one, as far as, yelling. It just seems frustrating, for the city to be in a condition that, that we need these trails, and for, our population that we have here deserves to have for equity and so, environmental justice and social justice reasons, and we're not getting that, getting Sure.
that. So, but to help preserve open space, we're just going down the list here. So we haven't really talked about the increasing the amount of open space set aside, but we really want to do update our fee in lieu of open space. It's really bad. It's from the 80s. It's $100 per lot. So we really need to update that. We started doing that with the commission, Dan, like 3 years ago or something.
It's been a arduous process.
And it's been, it's just frustrating for the commission to be able to do that, but they want to do it, but it's like, it's just not moving forward. But we definitely, that's going to go on our plan, that we need to update that because, this limited amount of money isn't worth it.
Yeah,
So,
number 2 will probably still be a goal in this new POCD. because
yeah,
We need to update the subdivision regulations as well.
absolutely. And then number 3, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Chris and I have been talking about ways to provide access to the reservoir properties. In fact, we're gonna chat for a couple minutes when the meeting's over and maybe set up a date to take another walk. I've also been in touch with Nick Bellis from the last Green Valley. And they're gonna help us with invasive species reduction along the trails once we define them. Chris, anything you want to say?
Yeah, so the one issue, there's 2 inactive reservoirs in Norwich, and I don't see them, at least in my lifetime, being resurrected, as they would need a treatment plant to go with them. And they're not very large water supplies. So I think it's great if we can get those open for passive recreation. Bog Meadow, we have leased to the Norwich Fish and Game Club, and I'll have to dig that lease back up. Haven't seen that in a long time. But that property is being used for hunting up there. And so I don't know how long that lease is for, and I haven't seen it get updated in many years. So it could be a 99-year lease or something crazy like that. Fairview, we had started going down that path of researching that. Mark Decker was doing that. He retired and it kind of got dropped. So I think we need to relook at that. And that I think is also, with the location, I think is a fantastic spot for getting that opened up for the public.
Great, exciting stuff. Just, curiously, what have been the barriers over the past decade or so to having opened up some of these reservoirs?
Well, Bog Meadow has got the lease issue, but Fairview, it's honestly a little bit of the NIMBYism. People have talked to the previous general manager and said, hey, I bought a nice property adjacent to this reservoir. I don't want the public coming into my walking area. So, for me, I'm looking at this as the greater good. And, I have no issue with getting more green space for everyone to participate in passive recreation.
Yeah, I think we were quite a ways down the road and then COVID hit and Mark retired and we're just picking it back up now.
Rich, I think.
I have a
remember
quick
we had a
question about Fairview. I'm just curious, where were we thinking like the access point for the public would be? I mean, I know there's a parking area kind of at the end of Reservoir Road. I don't know if that is the entrance you guys were considering or somewhere on like Canterbury Turnpike. I'm just curious.
Yeah, the city owns a piece of property on Canterbury Turnpike. And we had talked about putting in a parking area and a trail at there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, and there, the Reservoir Road section, that's an area where we have had people complaining about people accessing it, but they're walking around saying that there's people accessing it. So
Yeah,
I think that there will be some public opposition to people parking along that road, and it's kind of remote. And so I think Canterbury Turnpike would be the better solution, but open the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's what I was thinking, but I'm glad you confirmed that.
So as far as the establishing a municipal land acquisition fund, again, that goes to us changing our subdivision regulations about how much we take for open space, but also every year, just so you know, Kyle, I ask for 50,000 to 100,000 a year for open space acquisition, and it does not get funded in the budget. So there is an ask every single year for that. And I ask 2 things. I ask for open space money and I ask for grant match money every year. So if some opportunity comes up for something that we need to match 20%, that we have some monies to fall back on, and those 2 things don't get funded. So it's something we can continue to have a goal for it. I just don't know how economically if that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Does the city have any like particular targets they're looking at acquiring if you were to be awarded those funds?
I have some. I mean, it just, which I don't want to share right now, but,
For no, totally fair.
no, so there is probably some pieces that we know of, and as they come up for sale, we have internal conversations of like, oh, we only have the money for that, or, oh,
Mhm,
oh, there is things like that, but, yeah, with Dan doing the, map for existing land use map, we're looking at all the parcels that the city has, got over the last few years that were not necessarily merged into Mohegan Park, but they're adjacent to Mohegan Park and considering them part of the park so that they don't get sold off in the future for someone interested in building a house or something. So, so we're trying to do that, as part of our, after we finish the P O C D. So I'm seeking out additional funding.
Oh, just Deanna,
Okay,
is that something where, private partner or partnerships could come into play? Because over in Basra, there was a parcel that Avalonia got grants to purchase, and at first we thought it was in the watershed of the Stony Brook watershed, and we were going to partner with them on that project until we found out it was at a lower elevation and did not feed into the Stony Brook reservoir. But I know Avalonia does a lot of fundraising and gets a lot of grants, and maybe a partnership with someone like that may, it may lower the city's funding amount, and you might be able to get that budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
particularly with the OSWA grant that DEP puts out to purchase lands for open space. Collaborations always look a lot better on those grants, either with land trusts, other towns, or with a public utility.
And I think a change from the last P O C D is Avalonia is active in Norwich
Yeah,
now.
they weren't.
Previously. So we've met with them a few times.
this is kind of a new thing for them here, like,
Yeah,
working with
within
us.
the last 3 years.
Yeah,
So that's promising as well.
it's really promising. So, we like that, but just, there's also times that, like I said, that we see pieces that we think that the city doesn't have, the money for, or, it comes off the tax rolls. Let's be honest with you. That's always a challenge for us to say, hey, we should acquire that. And they're like, yeah, but, we're not going to get any taxes for it. It's another. So there's that balancing act here in a distressed community too, Kyle, that we deal with compared to other communities where, Glastonbury, they put $1 million a year aside for open space acquisition, so we don't have anything like that.
Certainly. Well, we're not hoping to. We're going to have a whole database of potential funding sources, because there's a lot out there. It's just a lot of it is kind of obscure. So, if you ever want to collaborate on one, let me know.
All right, because they seek out additional funding for open space acquisition, like for federal and state, and we do try to do that. One of the barriers, I think, with that grant from the DEP for open space, and I didn't do it here, but another community I work for, is to have the one's going blank. Oh my God, what's it called? Appraisal done in advance.
Mhm.
Think that they require appraisal. And so, communities have to put out money for an appraisal of a parcel that they don't own, that they may not get the funding for. So that's always an issue as well. So even if there was money set aside by someone to help you with the appraisal process,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or sometimes it's a survey they need too. They want appraisal and a survey of the property before they give you the money. And again, you don't own it and you're putting out money in advance that you're not going to get reimbursed for.
Well, hopefully that might be an opportunity to collaborate with Avalonia. I know they have a lot of volunteers that have a variety of experiences and skill sets. So I don't know if they have an appraiser on call like that, but might be an opportunity.
So, and then number 6, obviously we got to continue to partner to acquire open space and partner with people as we can. So a lot of times open space just falls into our lap, to be honest with you. That's kind of people, offer us, we want this piece, I don't want it anymore. But again, they're not necessarily the great pieces, but those ones that Avalonia got from us, those did fall in our hand for tax foreclosure. I forgot. I think it was tax foreclosure on Hunter's Road, and they were interested, and that was great because then we didn't have to worry about another development application there. And then the Public Works was happy because it's not something that they needed to monitor or do any, anything improvements to. So it was a win-win.
Great. It's a fantastic opportunity to be able to jump on. One thing I didn't have in the slides was the map from the 2013 POCD. I believe that there were identified like some corridors basically that the town wanted to create, so to speak. So does that kind of inform any of the, prioritization such as it is?
Are you talking about the river corridors, the Greenway, Blueway corridors?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we've really talked about that. It's a lofty goal where
Hmm.
that property that Deanna mentioned about the park along the Shetucket would be the start of something like that along that side of the city.
The park of the Antic that we're doing. That's, I don't know if that's
Obviously,
mentioned.
Douglas Leap, yeah,
Yeah, this week,
but it doesn't really connect to really,
well, it connects to the Heritage Trail.
yes, yes, to that.
So
trail,
we're,
but going-
we're piecemeal,
Mhm.
but then we have a lot of areas that everyone's private property runs right up to the riverbank. Or it's cut off by a rail line on
Mhm.
both sides, south of downtown, so it's,
Yeah, the rail lines on either side definitely make that tricky.
we'd love to have rails with trails.
Yes.
Adjacent to it. If you have an in with
The
Genesee and
railroad.
Wyoming, that would be great. Do you
I
mind
know.
bringing that map back up that you had in your
Yeah,
presentation?
sure.
Excuse me.
Switch to the proper tab here. Not that one. This one?
Yeah, so a lot of the blue parcels make sense. There's some of the reservoirs and Mohegan Park and whatnot. I'm curious about the green area in the northern end of the city.
Me too.
And what you heard about that. That's on the existing land use map I just did is it's called out as forest. It really is kind of a dense forest area with nothing, no development. But I don't think anybody
They might,
owns that or has that in a trust or a conservation.
so why, yeah, why is that highlighted green?
It's highlighted green because some organization had indicated that it was either protected or open to the public. I can't speak to that specific group of parcels, what the case was with it, but I can look into that and follow up with you on what we were told.
Definitely
Okay,
follow
that'd be
up with
great.
us.
That's not the Browning estate, is it?
It looks like it's White Plains Road and that way up at the end of, or maybe, yeah. Scotland Road, Barbers Road.
Yeah, because I think, the Scotland Road area, I think that's, we're just looking at that map today, and I think that does have some of the Browning property that is there, and they were looking at a potential solar field at one time up there.
Yeah, they were looking at commercial uses and he came to see me. That's why if it's his property, I think I'm a little skeptical about that.
Boy, that looks like a jigsaw puzzle.
Hmm,
That's yeah.
yeah.
That looks a little
So
better. Okay.
Avalonia, it looks like is the one who gave us that information.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the Browning property, the
Oh,
estate of Mary Browning.
weird. I wonder if Avalone, is Avalone told you about it or they have a connection to it in some way?
I can talk to Jess and see because she was the one that collected this from them. She consulted with the person. So I'll talk to her and probably reach out to him as well and see if I can get you some more details.
Yeah, because he came in, I think on those properties just about like even doing like a wedding venue and stuff there,
winery,
your winery and stuff, so
cidery,
I'm
yeah.
not sure that it is protected by any means.
Just a quick question on the map, was the like the historic greens covered as open space?
Yes, yeah, the like the Norwich Town Green, we have that marked.
Okay, great. I just wanted to double check. Thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking.
Did you guys look at a size of like what a minimal size was that it needed to be for open space?
We don't have any minimum size. If you have a, I don't know, 100 by 100 foot little playground, we'll count it.
Okay. So what is our percentage? Have you been able to calculate what we're at, what our percentage is in the city?
We haven't calculated them yet because we're waiting for the DEP to release their official definition next month before we actually count.
Okay.
Just eyeballing it right now, I'd say probably somewhere between 15 and 20%. The large reservoirs, Mohegan Park, it's a lot of nice big parcels there. So a lot of acreage.
I have another question for you, Chris. What about the old Taffville reservoirs that are up on top of the hill there?
Oh, the ones that dams have been breached?
Yeah,
We would turn that over to the city in a heartbeat. Just, let's find out how to make that work.
Send me an email.
That's-
Let's get
those are
moving.
large parcels that could be
Yeah.
open space for sure.
Yeah, those are awesome spaces.
All the way down to Mish Road.
Yeah,
And to 395.
Yeah, I have not been out there in about 20 years, and the last time I was out there is when the beavers were trying to reconstruct the dams, and we had to make them beaver proof, and I haven't heard any issues in a long time.
That'd be a good bicycle trail.
yeah, it'd be great.
Okay. I'll get my GIS people to put the map together, and then we can talk about getting that transferred.
That would be terrific.
Great. Well, that's pretty much all the information and questions that I had for you all. Does anyone have any other questions about the plan, our process?
Do you need anything for our plan for this?
No, I think we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Great. Well, thanks again so much. I don't know if you're planning to talk about anything else, but unless you have anything else for me, I'm going to hop off and go have dinner.
Okay.
Absolutely. Enjoy your dinner. Thank
Have
you.
a good dinner. Bye.
Have
Kyle.
an excellent night.
You
Thanks.
too. So I'm just gonna have Dan give you guys an update of like where we're at. He's been working very hard, a lot on the plan, so, and we're getting down to the crunch time, as you know.
So I can show you, we have a layout draft. The plan is, so you can put it on your shelf, it'll be 8.5 by 11. So you're gonna kind of open it and flip through it landscape wise. And we have different sections, and we took the Envision Norwich 360 kind of leaf circular thing. And that's what they're going to use for the logo in between sections. So this is, I mean, it's in Latin here, but it'll be easy to read, not too long. Maps will be smaller maps that are easier to read are like this, but then bigger maps that have more detail will take up the whole page and they'll probably rotate sideways. So right now I'm working on, I changed this. I did meet with the consultant after we met a few months ago, and we talked through the draft of the, sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. The vision statement and the focus areas. So there's some minor changes to this, some wording that they had me change, and just we added in a few buzzwords that the state and the regional plan would like to see. So this is pretty much finalized at this point. And then I can show you, I've been working on the intro, the whole background process, the plan structure. As I talked about a couple weeks ago, we're going to have 9 chapters in the appendix, kind of how to use the plan, how it aligns with regional and state plans, the state growth principles. And lately I've been working on, we're going to have demographics, housing, economics, your typical beginning of the plan, numbers and data. And now I'm in the vision section. So we have live, grow, play, connect, and renew. And then there's a map that's going to build off of the map we discussed 2 weeks ago, the land use map, and it'll be the policy area map. So it'll show focus areas, and they're split into grow strategically and promote livability. And then there's policy types within, there'll be a matrix of those two types of areas, and then policies. So we have innovate, renew, equitable, those three, and then they'll break down. So it'll be for different areas of the city. And just for example, downtown Norwich is in the grow and innovate area. So we'll have a little bit of an introduction about what the zoning is, what it's like currently, and what we'd like to see it become 10 years from now. And then some recommendations and opportunities that people can take advantage of. So we have downtown Norwich, West Main Street, and then renew areas are like the Shipping Street Terminal Way area, commercial corridors on Salem Turnpike and West Town Street. And then we'll also have sections about existing neighborhoods that need to be strengthened and supported, and then low density areas that need to kind of just stay that way. And that'll go into the open space and that type of thing. So that's pretty much where we are at this point.
If you had gone to any of the meetings that Dan and I had done, gosh, a year ago now, whatever it was, 6 months ago, you know, we went over those different sections of the city and what they're, you know, they needed, if they were good where they were at right now, if they need to be strengthened, and, you know, and need some focus. So that's where Dan is taking a lot of that information.
Yeah. And that was from, a lot of it was a retail commercial aspect, but it makes sense for residential as well. So it was things like, oh, this is a great place to shop, but there's no reason for me to stay here.
Exactly. Like in Green, you know, or like in Greenville, you know, it's like
some
they're
places you need to completely start over. Some
Yes.
places are good. We need to put policies in place to keep them that way.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So that's really the overall flavor of the plan.
We have in 2 weeks, is the meeting at the senior center. I think you have 2 weeks from today. I think it's the 9th or something of June, right?
14.
14th,
Couple
okay,
weeks.
couple weeks.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And that we're gonna have a meeting that night, but we're also having that event during the day. So
Yeah.
you're welcome to come. I'll make sure I tell you if you're available and you want to come and sit on a presentation. It'll be a short presentation and more of getting their input from the seniors. And then again, later in the month of June, we'll have another 2 events, just a 5 o'clock and a 6 o'clock at night events at Foundry 66, where we can have the public come in and give their last comments on it. And by that point, we'll already have the draft out because it has to be out, but at least we can, these are more things that we can add to the plan, you know, along the way. So, but we need to get the draft out to the COG and to the council way ahead of time, which is kind of ridiculous by statute, but you know.
The final draft for really public review will be mid-July.
Yeah,
It'll be on the clerk's website.
yeah.
Are you guys thinking of like advertising these upcoming public events like newspaper, Facebook, that sort of thing?
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm gonna talk to Claire and I'll, you know, the day, and I'll definitely, we'll put it on Envision and do that. I mean, I mentioned it at a Greenville neighborhood meeting recently and they were like, what plan? We don't know what's going on. And you're like, oh, you know, not that you don't, we want everybody to be involved, but like, we've been working on this for, you know, a year and a half, years now. And they were like, well, we want to be involved now. And like, well, let us show you what we've done so far. And definitely, you know, we want to get your input, but you know, it's, you know, people find out about it, they want to start from square one, and we're like way past square one now, you know, we're drafting.
I just want to be aware that we advertise these well, because I don't want to happen of some negative Nancy's who are like, the city didn't advertise this well and we didn't. know
Yeah,
about this
like,
and
how did
blah,
we,
blah,
know
blah."
that there was a plan was going on, and I'm like, we've been talking about it, there's a committee, and it's been, you know, we had public meetings, and you know, Dan and I had these events, and we did publicize it well, but if you're not
Well,
paying
they did
attention.
say by the end of the meeting that it was their fault for
Yes,
not paying.
That was great. I was just gonna say that. Then there was
That was
that
slightly
acknowledgement, which I was
repetitive.
happy after complaining, going, well, it's up to us to pay attention what's going on in the city. If we're missing out because we're not paying attention what's going on in the city. And I thought, wow, they're getting it, that, you know, we are putting it out there, but if you're not reading the paper and you don't want to go on Envision Norwich, or you don't want to go on the website and look at things, I don't know how much else we can tell you. You know what I mean? You can go to radio stations or wherever, talk about it, but if they're not listening to WICH, they're not gonna do it either.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So, but you know, now that I know of a few people in different groups, I can filter information out to them now that I'm getting to know some other people out there, so.
I'm wondering if, I'm sure someone has to even have email addresses of everybody who sits on city commissions, like even blasting it out to members of city commissions, because that's at least 80 people or more right there that may want to participate in meetings. I don't know, just a thought.
Oh, just so you know, just to like the beginning of this group, we did that like for everybody.
Oh, I
Hey,
know.
committees, do you want to meet with us? And we, you know, we didn't get to meet with every committee of every group, but we did meet with many, you know, many groups and they can still chime in as individuals too, even.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, mostly you get those individuals to attend the public meetings too.
We'll definitely, like in the next couple of days, you know, or maybe right after next week, we'll start getting out the advertising on what we want to say for the seniors, especially, but that one is really gonna be focused on getting it out to them through the senior center for the people that come there. But, you know, the one at Foundry, I think we really want to get that out there, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, Danny, you put a PDF together. We have a great Facebook and Instagram following because of all our storm
Yeah.
responses. So we can probably hit more than you would get from the newspaper.
Okay, we'll definitely use your Facebook as well as the cities and your Instagram. That'd be good too. Thank you. You know, come up with a cute little picture thing, you know, make it, you know, get some interest in people, you know, coming. Sometimes it's just a picture, what's going on, you know?
Do you have like a good marketing graphic or like ad or something to like share on with social media or share with eBlast or
Talk
things?
to our consultant too. We could probably come up with
Yeah.
something, but I'm sure they've done so many of them for different communities and we're only, like I said, using them to help us package our plan, not so much write it, you know, because we
Yeah.
didn't have much money, but I'm sure they have some really good stuff they could probably share with us, so.
Okay, yeah, just to help market.
Yeah, sounds good.
I can share things out to my networks as well.
I just always laugh because you know that there's the people, I won't even say names, but everyone knows this particular names are always on Facebook. The city doesn't do this, the city doesn't do that. They never tell us this. And I'm like, it's out there. You're just not paying attention, you know? But anyways, we do our best.
I think that's all we have for you tonight. Unless
think
anybody
so.
has any other questions.
Nope, I'm good. I know it's a lot of work, guys, so thank you for all your efforts.
Well, Dan is really taking the lead and just to share with this group here is, I don't know if you know, but Sydney has left the community development office. And they've asked me to fill in as an interim for the director of community development, which normally wouldn't be such a big deal, but it's right now is when their annual action plan is due. And I have to have it in front of the council by June 19th. So that's what I'm working on is community development's annual action plan. So I'm working on that. Dan's working on the POCD. So we are both like just up to here, you know, working on stuff. It's crazy. These plans that, you know, that are both statutorily required federally, so we can get our money in this one, so we don't get in trouble with the state and lose, you know, discretionary funding. So we're both under time crunches and it's not like we can put them off, so. Anyway, so be patient with us if we don't jump and call you right back and things, you know.
We get it.
Thank you. All right, guys, you want to stay and talk to Chris or?
Chris, you want to take a walk some evening?
I've got a pretty limited schedule here. Let me take a look what I got for next week.
On you?
This week I am completely booked through, and next week is Memorial Day. Maybe next Thursday or Friday?
I can do after 5 either day.
Oh, okay, so this is after work, okay, I think Thursday, I've got the Ron Aliano Awards, so I'll be attending that Thursday. Friday, I got my daughter coming. Oh, boy,
A week, Chris. How about the
And-
first week of June? Because that works.
okay. First week of June, like June 5th.
That's a Monday.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It's the night of a council meeting, so I gotta be here till 7:30 anyways, in all likelihood that night.
okay, June 5th.
Where do you want to meet?
You want to meet over on Canterbury Turnpike? Or do you want to meet at the dam?
Fairview Dam?
Yeah,
Okay, why don't we meet at the dam, Fairview Dam?
sounds good.
Do you want any of us to be there? Not that we have the time, but do you need us there? Dan can't be there, but do you need me to be there?
You don't need to be there, no.
I will
We've been
prob-
there.
You'll be at the council meeting.
Yeah, I'll be at the council meeting, but I'll put it down on my calendar. I may or may not go. So we said 5 o'clock, Fairview Dam.
Yep.
So a lot of poison ivy out there.
If you're gonna scale the dam face, yes. From prior experience, a much younger person, but not on the road itself. on the
No.
ring road, yeah.
Was that as a seasonal at Norwich Public Utilities, Dan, that you got the poison
Yeah.
ivy?
I weed whacked that whole damn face multiple times.
Oh,
I'm so allergic to poison ivy, so we'll see.
Oh, I was too, believe me.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
guys. Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.